Peace and blessings. Welcome to the Lorna C. Hill Theater, home of Ujima Theater Company. Alongside Pure Ink Poetry, we would like to present to you tonight, spoken in her own words. As we embark on this beautiful night of transformational and inspirational poetry from the women of our arts community here in Buffalo, I would like to honor and have a moment of silence for our founder and artistic director, Ms. Lorna C. Hill. We are gathered here today to commune together in art to share our stories. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first poet of the evening. She is a poet laureate, a powerful woman in her community, an activist, a straight up don't want to mess with, hush your mouth. Let's bring her out. Jillian Hanesworth.
You stole what was mine. You took the bass and the untamed edges out of it and called it your own. You complicated it and put it on the cover of Cosmo as 2020's hottest new trend. For you, it's just something that's currently in. You added the Migos and Gucci to it, hoping it'll get played on the heat, thinking their names will make us intrigued even if it's over a weak beat, but putting money in their pockets won't help my people eat. So I shrug it off and look the other way the same way you do when I get stopped by the police. I stay silent the same way you do when they hunt my people down like deer, new slaves being held down while you hop on new waves. I look at you with a loss for words, the same way you stare at the TV watching mothers at a loss for words. You pull out your phone and start to tweet hashtag her son is dead, but you look at his outfit and you rob him instead. Hashtag say his name. But first, order those sneakers he had on. Then maybe people will notice you even if it means forgetting that he's gone. Hashtag look at the new trend these people are on. You won't march in our protests. Don't think you're ready for that. Hashtag a whole lot of people want to be black until it's time to be black, so you give it all back. You undo the cornrows and you stand up straight. You go from trying to be thick to trying to lose weight, making statements that you were lost, but you found yourself again. And then you return to that sheltered life you were always really in, like a mask you can remove when you're no longer in the mood to bear the burden of being black in your own country, in your home country. But when that mask came off, you exposed your truth. I guarantee throwing up a fist and showing a sign of solidarity would have been easier than turning your back on the people you want to be. You lost our respect. You rapped about our lives but forgot to mention that they matter. You sprinkled our history onto your lies, and to you it didn't matter. And what's sadder is the fact that you don't see how you're wrong. To you it's just fashion. It's just a hairstyle. It's just a song. Cultural appropriation gone completely wrong. You showed your true colors. We almost accepted you for who you are until you turned our battle wounds into unspoken scars. You thought twerking gave you permission to critique our resistance. You ignored the fact that we are so much more than big butts and sew-ins. You played yourself. And for that, you didn't even need our help. We thought you were down, but you soft, you done off. Hashtag, I bet you wish you never took that mask off. I wish the little black boy did something wrong. I wish the police yelled, freeze! And the little black boy came barreling at him, aiming a gun at ease, actually life-threatening. So when the cops have to fight and the bullets take flight, no one has to hide and no one has to lie because the little black boy did something wrong this time. I wish the video of the incident leaked on Facebook, and the whole world tuned in to get a better look, and we could all collectively say, yeah, that sucks, but he had it coming all along because this time the little black boy did something wrong. I wish I could watch it on TV with my nephews, and say, you see what he just did? That's something you should never do. Because it's easier to explain why he's laying dead in the street, bullet wounds still steaming from the lead and the heat, than to say no justice, no peace, or R.I.P. because the little black boy did nothing wrong. And it's easier to explain what's wrong and what's right, what's black and what's white, than the in-between where gray lies. And it's easier to mourn the loss of someone, a mother burying her son, when you can look at her and say, I'm so sorry, mama, but this time, your little black boy was wrong. Black Lives Matter is not a badge of honor. It's not a hate group. It's a message to our youth, a reminder saying you mean something in a world where if you go 10 miles over the speed limit, they might try to kill you. And I'm so tired of saying, put the guns down, little black boys. The right to bear arms doesn't apply to you. And if your jeans are too baggy, or your voice is too loud, or you know your rights, or you live on the good side of town, or you live in the hood, or your job is too good, or your car is too nice, or your skin ain't light, or your money's too long, or your personality's too strong, be careful out there, because you might be gone, even if you're a little black boy who did nothing wrong. In case you haven't noticed, we're still singing that same song. See, we've always been chosen when it was time for the killing, the way you choose a tomato that's ripe for the picking. I thought targets were red. When did they become black? I thought the abuse of power was dead. When did it come back? And maybe it never left. But when did it get this bad? When did the allure of equality make us wave the white flag? We've always protested the killings. We marched when Dr. King had a dream. He preached a message of freedom, and we believed everything. We looked to the hills with hope of free and better days, but we didn't notice that we were still targets, just targets in different ways. They didn't kill us as much, but we were still their slaves. And they used systematic oppression instead of whips and chains. They compared us to each other, like some were better, not the same, like we weren't all stuffed onto the same boats, like we didn't get here the same way. They locked us in cells and they threw the keys away. They left us broken in the hood. They didn't even need a grave. They sent us to the schools that were falling apart. When we finally found our leaders, they stabbed us in the heart. They sicked their dogs on us. They hung us from trees. They made it very clear that we were never really free. You see, we drank from different fountains. Success with different tools. We used the back door. We followed different rules. We were taught that we were different, and that different ain't right. That's why to this day, speaking proper is speaking white. But as our standards rose, their fears grew. They were stunned when we sat at that counter singing, "We should not be moved." And they were afraid when Rosa Parks sat at the front of the bus, and when a white man wanted her seat, she refused to get up. They panicked when Malcolm X gathered a group of his brothers to police the police and make life safer for each other. And when Angela Davis proclaimed, "We ain't scared no more," that gave the ones who wanted us scared a new goal to reach for. They realized they couldn't kill our spirits. They couldn't kill our hope. They couldn't kill our minds. They couldn't kill our souls. So they targeted our black boys who did nothing wrong, and they killed them for wearing hoodies and playing with toy guns. They choked them for selling Lucy's, ignored the "I can't breathe," and they didn't get in trouble. They seem to walk away scot-free, but we can't let them get away with anything. So while they target us as individuals, we have to build our team. We have to show our youth that they are worth something and teach them to aspire for more than a pair of Jordans and some bling. When you know better, you do better. So allow me to preach. There is nothing we can't do. There is no goal beyond our reach. We are culture creators. They want to be like us, match our style, match our swag, and they still ain't dope enough. They will try to keep us down, and they will continue to be mad. So let us be great. Ignore the hate. As a matter of fact, they should target that. So this next poem is dedicated to the great, amazing Lorna Hill. It's called "Who's the Boss?" You thought you made the sun rise. You thought you were the one. I had to bring you down a size, so I became the sun. Beamed on you heavy, had you sweating like a loaded gun. Reminder, I don't get told what to do by anyone. Don't need a savior, never been a damsel in distress. I am the dragon, I spit fire, only ashes left. I'm not a princess in a tower waiting, passing time. I am the monster you must slay before you take what's mine. I walk with pride because I have powers I have yet to learn. Not thought of as the head, but I can influence the head to turn. shielded with discernment that allows me to connect the dots. And too humble to broadcast that I am she who calls the shots. I listen with my soul, so I hear words that have not been spoken. Vision so clear that I see through doors that have not been opened or open yet. I walk by faith, believing what I cannot see. With melanin of magic, life wreaks havoc, yet my soul is free. I push the culture forward, raising generations like my child. And candy cocoa butter is what you think of when you see me smile. I carry the political weight. Never too much on my plate, can't starve on mediocrity, too busy getting full on great and greatness. That seeps out my pores. I always win, no need for scores. Methodic and intentional. If you need help, just ask the girls. See, girls, we more than run the world. We're the axis on which it turns, the moon that makes the waters rise, the sun that causes land to burn. We hold down every fort, even the ones we did not build. We reach deep down inside ourselves, finding love so pure and real, a love that makes all sorrows heal and replaces them with triumph. And we conquer every jungle with more reverence than a lion. See, each great man in history had a woman right beside him, orchestrating social change, no need to get behind him. And if she did, her back was to his, so nobody could slight him. And we never miss a beat. Don't need the blueprints when you write them. We speak up for everyone, even those who won't speak up for us. And we fight, throwing left and right until we've had enough. We can't be broken. Some don't get that, and they keep on trying us. Not realizing every blow just makes us much more tough. We edify each other like only women can. And we're quick to get to work. We're not afraid of dirty hands. We are everything. And no, we don't always see, but a lion doesn't need a mirror to just know how to be. It is ingrained in us. The missing link God took time to create. And we'll never face a challenge that we can't annihilate. See, in society, we may be the ones they like to cross, but we'll handle that like everything else. So tell me, who's the boss? Thank you. Okay. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be streamed live on Facebook, Twitter, or IGTV. You will not be able to start it over if you missed a part, and you won't need to tap it twice to see its heart. The revolution will not be brought to you by Nike, the NFL, or Jay-Z. We will watch it succeed in HD without taking a knee. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live. The revolution will thrive. And the revolution will rhyme. The revolution will be led by Black women who are just tired enough to do it ourselves. It will be rhythmic enough to follow the beat using drums and tambourines, focusing on the 2 and the 4 like a secret language that comes naturally. It will get louder when it's calling for the people's attention and quieter when it needs the people to listen. People listen. The revolution will be direct and unwavering without concern of being looked at as angry. It would be as big and natural as a Black Panther's afro without worrying about opportunity. It would be as interwoven as locks, but there would be nothing dreadful about it. And when light shines on the revolution, it will create a halo around it. The revolution will rhyme. It will be syncopated. It will harmonize. It will be called and repeat. The revolution will rhyme. The revolution will leave no man behind. It will not be developed just to be displaced. Its purpose will not be extracted and repurposed or refocused, and the burden of education and comfort will not be placed on the oppressed, while tolerance and understanding is gifted to the oppressors. You will not be able to binge watch the revolution, rewinding the comfortable triumphs and fast forwarding through the hurt. You will not be able to DVR the revolution or avoid spoiler alerts or save it for a day that you choose to see its worth. You will not be able to mute the revolution, for it will be loud, and you will not be able to shame the revolution, for it will be proud. The revolution will rhyme. It will hold your attention and retain your momentum. It will float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. It will hit even harder than Muhammad Ali. It will stand on the shoulders of those who died on their knees, screaming, "You can take me from my freedom, but you can't take my freedom from me." The revolution will hold this country accountable, forcing it to keep its promises. Promises that guarantee life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It will be a sight to behold. It will be so cinematic that Ava DuVernay will create a documentary about it. A complete overhaul, not just a quick fix. The revolution will rhyme. It may not always be politically correct, and it will not be required to forgive and forget. The revolution will remember all those who crosses its path with a message fierce enough to make the opposition fear its wrath. It will march through the valley of the shadow of death without regret of its path, and it is coming for what it is owed and refuses to settle for half. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live. the revolution will thrive, and the revolution will rhyme. Thank you.
Give it up for Jillian. The revolution will rhyme. All right? We ain't playing. We ain't playing. I'm telling you, the poets that we have here tonight are so powerful. Thank you, Jillian. Let's give it up for her one more time. Jillian Hanesworth. It is my pleasure to bring out this next poet. She is not only beautiful and stunning, this woman's mind. I digress. I'm gonna bring her right on out. Bring her out, Eve!
I built a house full of trapdoors. There are little girls there, dozens of them. Though I long ago lost count, sometimes I can hear them scratching. Find bits of flesh at the bathroom entrance, scribbling on the walls of the closet, a rambling language. Girls, be quiet. They listen to me, mostly. Sometimes they get angry, more often sad. They're weeping, gnawing at my sleep. No, ain't nothing dead stay dead in this house. My house. In the kitchen, I sing to reggae and salsa from the 90s. Dance while I throw ingredients in the wok. If my music, like my voice, like the cumin and garlic, is loud enough, I can barely hear them screaming. But I wonder if my son can. Will the ghosts of my little girls meet my little boy? He's 6 now, the youngest must have been 7 then. Will he see her and call her mommy? Will the ghosts of my little girls haunt him? Do they already? He wakes screaming, staring into space, shaking. I shake him, wake, wake, wake up, but he is not asleep. I want my mommy, he screams to me, at least once a week. And I wonder which one of my little girls he sees, because I don't even know their names. I call them by their death name, like the girl who didn't press charges, or the girl who saw what happened, or swimsuit girl. She was so pretty. Yeah, my house is full of these trapdoors. And by house, I mean body. And this ain't no temple, but a spiteful thing. And no, I never knew they'd haunt me. My ghost daughters of another mother, they are mine. Doing backstrokes in the back of my memory. Jump, she cries, jump. And I do. Away from her and all the other little girls, haunting little girls. Didn't know when you died, you wouldn't die, really. Didn't know you died when you died, little girls. Why won't you stay dead? Buried? But they do. Be scavenging around in the recesses of my dreams. Walking through the ghettos of my history, going back. They always be going back now. Even as they're coming up, I see them. Right there in the periphery, I see them. Like B's name carved in the cement off of Best Street. But it's been 2 decades and nearly every family that was moved off that street if they weren't buried by it. Because we be up and coming. They say we be up and coming. They say it's a good thing. But it's pushing the girls out. My body being gentrified like my hood, and you could take the girl out the ghetto, but not the ghetto out the girl. So Fillmore runs a long road along the back of my skull, and there's dozens of them little girls there now. Backstroke girl somehow found her way from Jefferson and Ferry to Bailey. And now she's in a fight with the girl locked in an attic with D. She's trying to pry his fingers off, but she's only 8 and far too small. See, South Campus train station girl finally got out that elevator, rank with urine and what they said she was supposed to be doing. She climbed the stairs of that house on Jewett, just dragging that elevator behind her till she gets to the door of the bathroom where the girl who couldn't stomach liquor is breaking her fingernails on the bathroom towel so she can't feel him breaking her. And elevator girl starts swinging that elevator against the door, screaming and screaming to let her out, but the only thing that breaks is the girl. The girl who won't ever be able to smoke weed no more, but doesn't know it yet. Hears her hollering from the dirty mattress at Mercedes' apartment, and she runs to another room to try and save herself. When he finds her, she can't find herself, but the other little girls are there now. And together they're floating like dead stars in a galaxy of nothing. because they refuse to be anymore. So when he finally leaves, she sees he won't ever leave, and she drags her way across the floor to the living room with all them who wouldn't leave, and City Hall girl and the girl who pulled her bones down Kensington at 4 a.m. is comparing notes with the girl who said no. Yes, all the other little girls with their own deaths are there now. And she'd be there moaning, just moaning a language that could only be described as dead. And the girl who remembers them all falls on a patch of grass in the dark under a sky of dead stars, and she remembers them all. She remembers them all. And so I stuff her in one of them trapdoors too, and pray I can keep them all out. It's been a hard time, a lot of mourning, including for ourselves. Are you scared? You're scared, aren't you? Oh yeah, I see it. Afraid they're gonna take it from you, that it will rub off on you, and what would you have left then, if not this? Such a tentative grab, so fragile your manhood is, isn't it? Yes, poor little black boy should be dancing in the moonlight, but you're too scared to, aren't you? Yeah, I see it. Saw it. And one of the first ones, so soft, so gentle, pussy, they called him. We called you sweetie. So I forgave you before you even began, because you needed it more than I did to survive it, to prove it. Yes, go ahead and take it, I might have said, if I could have, but you were a man. You showed me, didn't you, out here stockpiling black girl bodies, fuel to your becoming, but did you become when you took me then? Or did I fuck that up when I didn't scream? Experience and shut up and take it, I did, but did you though? Take it, I mean. No, you're still trying now, aren't you? Yeah, I see you. Black boy, all growed up, but God even put some respect on your name. Out at the club on a Saturday, want to buy me a drink, but I'm just a cunt because I don't like your touch, and you's a good one, like my husband was. He'd let me build my prison and maintain it, make the babies cook and clean it, but I was corrupted by white things, like growth and dreams. So he traded me in for a Becky who'd eat his shit and worship his body. The penultimate prize for his black pride is being threatened from every direction. Black women, the police in the system. Now it's those he, she's. Better run fast, black boy, before they catch you. Sound like white people. Said you were less you. Smell like daddy's absence and coach's hugs. Looks like every girl that ever said no. Punk bitch, what you crying for? Fix your face. Show them what a real man is. What's it gonna take? $50 for a late night screw? A couple slurs to polish your skin. Maybe you gotta take all of them. How they took you in the locker room, in the prisons, the cotton field, in the big house. Hush, don't tell, it's just a blowjob, hole in the wall, but you's a real man, you'll show them. Like the driver showed your auntie before you. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? To be his right-hand Negro, hold the whip too, wishing you could have been massa, but you's just an Uncle Ben, barely man. Fluffing your feathers for the auction block, castrating yourself for a piece of that corner plot on the down low, turning out instead of in. Niggas is so scared of trans, they can't even transcend an identity written by men so weak they took us as property. As no more than a place to enact violence intimately. Yes, poor little black boys should be dancing in the moonlight, but you won't even watch the movie, will you? For the same reason it won the Oscars. Anti-blackness, to them it emasculated us, stripped us of our power and our stories, and you still subscribe to their lies of what black is. Man, woman, when African societies didn't identify gender by genitalia until they was colonized. Oh, but you civilized, right? More like conditioned. Like, she asked for it dressed like that. Like, if only we had class and self-respect like Sandra Bland, what, this wouldn't have happened. Yes, poor little black boy got hotep. They told you this is how to preserve it, and you fell for it. Cutting out your heart to spite your skin. Such an advanced case of Stockholm, you think you're free, but you settled for safely passing. Like 3/5 is better than nothing, bro. You became the caricature they painted of black is brute, black is violent, black is stupid. Yes, they orchestrated our genocide, but you manifested. Yes, this is your trauma, and we get it, got it more than anybody. Yes, we birthed it. You nursed you, prop you up and held you, coaxed your peenie and your ego, took your fists in hatred like we needed to survive it, excusing your assaults because we can trace the roots from our own bodies to the ships and back onto our own kids. So let me say this in a language you can understand. Man the fuck up, because it isn't your manhood being threatened. It's blackness. For the purposes of this poem, imagine that I am a white girl. Now, not just any white girl, but any white girl. Blonde, brunette, old, young, average, skinny, pudgy, straight, bi, whatever, because I'm depressed. And black girls aren't supposed to be depressed. Depression is a white girl in sweatpants and an ex's musty-ass hoodie. Spooning pints of Ben and Jerry's, blasting Weezer or Ani. She slobber cries and won't leave the house while I still do most of what I'm supposed to do. Still get up in the morning, drag myself to the gym some days, every day, make sure my son eats. Now, most of my supposed to's that I can't do are feelings, and I miss them, but not enough to call a friend or find a therapist or actually let loose the sob that got caught when I realized it was my brother's murderversary and I hadn't poured any Henny out. I didn't cry when I broke up with the love of my life, when my car battery died and somebody tried to break into my house one night, because I am afraid to truly feel anything lest it become everything, and I a scream. I, the throat that cracks, neck all taut, sky driven, stretched, my lungs emptying themselves of all the bodies. Black men shot by the police and black women shot by black men and all the corpses that haven't been found yet. No, you want to know what my depression is made of? Overwhelming. It is breaming with too much to be said and nothing to be done about it. It is helpless. My mouth a cavern full of all my quiet. I don't know where my feelings went. I'm sure I lost them somewhere between my disability and the shootings and the Christmas presents I couldn't afford, but my depression is really good at playing like it isn't. Like my pain is. So ingrained, I forgot what it feels like to not have it. And isn't that just like black women? To wear our history like our descendants, tracing these scars on our backs, but these are not sexy things. No, black girl magic doesn't stop us from feeling some kind of way, doesn't conspire with our ancestors to provide us with a web of invincibility. No, we are not flawless. Even when our skin is. No amount of cocoa butter can counter the family who run Kellys and Cosby's up and down our bodies. Shade don't erase the mommies who turn safe places into purgatory. Black Twitter won't save us any more than spitting on the broom did. Pettiness but aloe when we're bleeding out. See, black girls have been told that we hold the world, birthed it, and carry it still, but we are no mythical beasts. Maybe giants, but so too do we fall. We are not immune to the ways of the world. We buckle and we hold it and cry and we don't. Just because you choose not to see the bruises doesn't mean we don't bleed. We don't say you hurt me, but fuck you or nothing. Mourning ourselves in passing as if our own death in life is not worth mentioning. But black girls are not unbreakable. Our ancestors do not always save us. No, neither Yamaya nor Ogun protected me. Shango ain't ride in and guide me back home after they shattered me. God did not show me amazing grace. He told us to hush and stay in our place. See, depression is similar to America in that way, urging us to bury it like the bodies of racism and misogyny in unmarked graves. But I will not be buried. This piece is after Danielle Smith. Dear America, you are my mother. I know not the words to your anthem, but your song. Of it I am. The lie, truth you can only find in the inhale. Heavy, I hear it when I sleep. Wake in the morning, it haunts me like morning bells of all those who came before, taunting and never says I'm sorry. America, you made me an apology and tell me that I must forgive you. And yet you are guilty of nothing. Tell me it is all my fault. I owe you. I am a debt and you own so much of it. Me, I should be grateful for all that you gave, the spoils of your stolen wealth I never did ask for. No, you did not rape me, mommy, but created the conditions for it and then called me a whore. Talking about it hurts you more than me, crying, always fucking crying, begging me to save you, threatening to die, but you are killing yourself, mommy. And I can't save you. America, my love for you has always been what kills me. I cannot forgive and forget. And you're so good at forgetting. You are when it serves you, and I do try to, but there's always that nagging still in my feet. The soil beneath my toenails in the same sea. I was born of that long memory, yours and theirs, salt and blood, torn open things, but I did not ask to be born. Brought forth of your forgotten wounds, a scar, scab to pick at. You tell me I am the knife. But did you not weld me as soon as you'd wield the cuts you made? You said I did that, America. But did you not give me these hands but tie them also? With pride and dignity, respect, you say. I am your mother. As if mothers don't drown their own children and claim to be drowned by them. As if you didn't fertilize the soil with the remnants of my sisters, brothers, fathers, mothers before, then beg me to wash your hands of them. But you stink, America. As do I of you, mommy, my country, my home. I have left, fled your borders only to have you follow me. Only to find I carry you with me in. I can't rid myself of the stench, strain this blood. I try to give up your flag. Hang it upside down, but I am hung by it. My feet roots I tried to burn, but I am burned by it. Set aflame. No, I have left, but I can't leave. You hold everything I hold dear hostage. I am, and you are rotting this house I was born in, stands still, crumbling from the foundation. You are dying, and I am not happy, mommy. For as much as I have wet my tongue with dreams of reparation, I do not want you to die. Your daughter, I am still your daughter. Still, I want you to be saved. Still, I want you to pay. Still, I want you to heal. America, mommy, I don't want you to die today. Thank you.
Blue tears, counting fears, they're all down my throat.
Let's give it up for Eve, y'all. Give it up for Eve. America, mommy, powerful, powerful. I'm telling you, it's some real serious power in the house here tonight. She is a Sagittarius teacher and just poet extraordinaire. I'm so happy to introduce Danielle AJ.
When Kobe Bryant died, a reporter shared his pleasure of being a father of daughters. A girl dad. Said it was something that made him proud. Subsequently, around the world, men shared pictures of their daughters, accompanied with the hashtag #GirlDad. This one's mine, hashtag #GirlDad. My number one, hashtag #GirlDad. Subsequently, around the world, girls like me looked to their fathers, checked their pages, wondered if such pride would be extended to them, wondered if their hashtag #GirlDads were as proud as the rest seemed to be. I looked for more than most. Looked for the one who gave me life, the other who nurtured it. I, lucky girl with two to call my own. And some kids don't know their fathers. I know Bernard. Know how he believes 3,000 miles is like not having had kids at all. Believes that's ideal. He's actually allergic to children, to their clinging nature. As if the way that they need you is too much for his arms to hold, he will asphyxiate to know the full weight of a child. Fun fact. For most of my childhood, my mother would treat him like Santa Claus, wrote his name on the backs of presents as if imagination and hope are enough to sustain a child. Bernard believes that child support payments are the same as parenting, because money is the same as love, the same as support, the same as trust, and the sound of dollar signs is a threat in any phone call, so he doesn't pick up the phone. Better not to speak at all. Better not to love at all, when love is a direct pull at his own pocket fatherhood, a trial he passed with flying colors, almost as if someone else wrote the answers in for him. To him, he has done the work. To him, our victories are his, proof of his accomplishment of spreading his seed, proof that he was there, as if he was. And I know Matthew. Intellectual pastor, all big words and sound conviction, better than my own father. He took me in. Watched how he filled spaces no one asked because he said he belonged, and I believed him. In his world, I flourish, and everything makes sense. And I have a dad. I have everything I need when I am by his side, but I do not live there. It is not real. Watched how spaces he filled suddenly weren't where he belonged. Watched those spaces collect dust in the presence of his real family, his real daughters, my real father. So he asks me to compare our relationship to the one that he has with our God. Says to exercise free will and how I want our relationship to go, which is to say, of his daughters, I am the one who goes months without hearing from him. He must be too busy for me. To him, it is easy to speak, but not so to follow through, there when he needs you, but gone otherwise. Oh, I know them. It is a secret bond I share with the both of them, where I tell them that I love them, and they whisper the things that I want to hear as if they know how to settle me, to put mask over my eyes before they walk out the door, as if I am not begging for them to want me. Online, Bernard did me a favor. Refrain from finding dusty pictures where we are unrecognizable, where I am a girl and he is a dad. Online, Matthew posted 3 girls he is dad to, and I compared myself to a forgotten stepchild. Online, I am still contacted by both, at a distance, and in person. I don't have a dad. Learning to sew, a poem in 2 simple stitches. The first, a lesson for craftiness, a push and pull resulting in the newness of garment, the running stitch, good for binding pieces of fabric together. Poke a threaded needle through 2 pieces of fabric and then push it back 1/4 inch over. This creates 1 stitch. Continue to make stitches along the fabric. We learn how to cut and piece together to make something worthwhile. How wide the world when 2 things so separate can become together at your whim. The next, the manifestation of the natural processes in fabric, the back stitch, good for mending, making new what has been worn down. Make a 1/4 inch stitch, as you did before, and then bring the needle back towards the first stitch, poking it through 1/4 inch away from the start of the first. Bringing the needle back down through the fabric to close the gap. We learn to bring parts that are supposed to be one back to their original states. Lesson 2, made for necessity rather than the miracles of the art in North India. Men who mend garments live in a hushed world. A good rafugar is the type that none speak of. Mend so well they leave no trace. In Japan, the process of mending is not so secret, rather highlighted on indigo fabric with white stitches smaller than grains of rice, which is to say, there are some scars that you keep, and some that are hidden so well that you tie them into the folds of your body, praying that no one can see. The last lesson is to pass it down. An art form cannot survive unless you teach your children. It is why we all carry the stab marks on our fingers and the pokes in our own lips while this family is passed in the silence that we pretend is not there. Step 1 is truly taught the first time your body aches with the presence of another, how it splits you, how it makes you vulnerable for vultures to poke at the parts of you that are still open. And who was the first of us to learn the art, the way of the needle, the pull of tightly closed doors and mouths, never to speak of the secrets we found here? I think the first thing I noticed, after sewing patterns into the own seams of my lips and subsequently ripping out that thread, was the women in my family who carried the same scars. The silence in my family is passed down like how some teach their daughters how to sew. It was as if it was a rite of passage, the becoming of a woman. We were presented with needles and thread and taught different sets of stitches and the tenderness that your fingers need to make the stitches right. They taught us to mend at the expense of our voices. We were taught women's work, like how to sweep our secrets under the rug, like how to wash terrors out of our clothing, how to lie underneath the weight of the lives we uphold, how to sew. And though at first it began with clothing, we were also subliminally shown the patterns of passage of needle through skin, how best to suture your own lips together, how quiet a child can stay, how quickly mothers will reinstate the same scars they put into their own lips, how painful it is to love so much you'll hide your own scars as your daughters learn to cover theirs, how simple it is to stay silent. They say that silence is golden, and in this family, it's the trade. I grew wings last night. Thick black feathers. Felt each one poke through my skin, each pain, a sigh, a transition, a relished feeling, hoped to make myself fly away. Hoped I'd find worlds unknown. I grew a beak last night. Thought to peck at staying agents that grow at my feet, dismantling my roots. I have grown into so many different people, it is hard to say who lives now. Who lives behind my hands, or behind the sharpest of tongues, or my eyes tinted blue, watching the world sadder and sicker than it may be. Maybe these wings fly to me, to the girl I will become. In years, after molting and shedding and growing roots, like maybe the one who I will be is more authentic than the one I am now. Now I am patched and hot glued together as if that makes one whole of a person, as if it gives me flight, rather than the sinking notion that not all of these roots are mine, or that I will flower into so many beautiful things that people will mistake that for me when I am not flower, I think. Rather, half thing, make me whole, one or the other, flower or bird, wings or roots. I cannot both plant myself to live and die without flying. I am learning to love this body I'm in, and all its flaws, and all its claws, and all its broken pieces. I'm learning to love every bit of me. Every curl and curve and tone of skin. I define myself by my brokenness, as if I was irreparable, as if the little pieces would never fit together the way I wish they would. Turns out, glue guns are magic, and staples are magic, and I am magic, and I am whole, just a few cracks here and there. I am learning what it is to not have holes in me, to no longer feel wind blowing through cross beams, the whistle of an empty place replaced with a hearth and warm feet and a smile. I am learning I would not describe myself as a well. In fact, the water that used to be here just tepid and poisonous and gray, but there is beauty in dirty water when it is what has kept you alive, what has strengthened your backbone, taught you how to live again. I am learning how not to be so obsessed with the idea of love. Always thought it would bring me something new, undiscoverable, but it brings me nothing I cannot bring myself. I realized that I asked God to send me a man with an aptitude for tools to fix me, to smooth over rough edges, put me back together, as if any man could look at this configuration of artwork that I am and know how to make it into a masterpiece, as if he could understand that every part of me does not need construction. Some edges are exactly as they are supposed to be, that I need not be soft all over, need not be small or quiet or barely even there. Instead, God sent me a box. Inside of it were staples and glue guns and a note that said, "Do it yourself." So I did. It's a love poem. I will not lay my fingers out to count the ways that I love you, because I know before I am finished there will be nothing to count on, and the numbers will be lost in swirls of feelings and how I feel for you. I love the way you look at me. I love the way you smile. I love the way you laugh. I love the way that you dance even though you don't have any rhythm. I love the way you really try to have rhythm. I love the way you look at cars and the way that you look at me and the way that you are like now. As I write this, you are off somewhere different, and we are weird, and we are stomach-tied, twisted tongues about this, about who we are, about how we love each other, and I know what I know is true. I love you more than I love music. I love you more than I hate doing the dishes. I love you more than I love poems, and I love the way that you love the poems that I write from you. And I love the way you try for me even when I am hard, even when I am difficult. I love the way you post my love poems on the fridge, and the way that you will not post this one. This one is just for now. A sorry that I don't feel but that I will give, because I love you more than my pride, or my anger, or my hurt. I love you. That will not change. that cannot change till death or beyond.
Y'all give it up for Danielle AJ. Give it up for her one more time.
Brew, ha, 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 ha. Brew, ha, 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 ha. Brew, ha, 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 ha. Brew, ha, 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 ha. Brew, ha, oh, 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 ha, 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 ha. Brew, ha, oh, 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 ha, 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 ha. Brew, eyes that shine, lips that smile.